Okay. Take in. First they will ignore you, then they will laugh at you, yes. Then they'll fight you, and then they will take you in. And this, we really felt all these phases of activism.
Yael, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing the interview.
Thank you for having me.
I'm a bit perplexed. I don't know where to start with you. You're a person with incredible experience, but maybe we just start at the beginning. How long have you been an activist or been doing activism, and how did that start?
I think I was born with it. I was just born an activist, and I grew up also in a commune, in a kibbutz in Israel. So we had a lot of time to experience activism within the community. Okay. So from a very young age, I organized already parties for the kids. So it was many times were reflections about the kibbutz life. How is it, and what do you think, and how can we change it? Every Friday evening there was something to do for the whole community. So people come together about cultural things or ideology of the kibbutz, and we were thinking, do we like it as youth? How can we change? That kind of things. Also, when we went out to the nature, we always combine reflections to actions.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Maybe for the people that don't know, what is a kibbutz, very shortly?
I was born in the kibbutz at the end of the 50s, so it was really very strict at that time. It means everybody had the same. My parents were living in a small room with one bed, very small kitchen. But we, the kids, we lived somewhere else, very close to the parents, but somewhere else, and we ate there together. And the people in the kibbutz everybody ate together in the dining room, where they shared their food and their thoughts, and they went to work, and you get housing according to the amount of children you had. Mm-hmm. So, and your age. So people with more kids, 3-4 kids was normal in our kibbutz, and it started, during the 20s, when many Jews left East Europe.
And since that time, because you said it all started with the commune and organizing there, and already being a bit of a community builder.
Yes.
It seems.
Yeah.
What were some other topics you then started to get into or started to be aware of?
When I came to Belgium, I went to study social work. And in the beginning of the 80s, were these very huge demonstrations against the rocket missiles of the NATO to the direction of the Soviets during the Cold War. And we were protesting. One protest was 400,000 people were in Brussels. I was a part of it. I'm very proud to say that it was organized by Elkirik, where I'm now the coordinator. Yes. So this was my first real engagement, social engagement.
Amazing. Those are the anti-nuclear, the anti-missile actions, but a lot of other teams also passed through Elkirik, the place where you then became coordinator. Yes. What are some other subjects you have some experience with?
Yes, the recycling movement of these big places where people can drop their things, and they are sold for very low price, and it provides jobs for people who find it difficult to adapt in the society. Also, the rights of the patient started in Elkerik. The fact that the patient has rights. If there were, yes, doctors who didn't do their job like it should be, a patient in that time, he had nowhere to go. We started with the Patiëntenbond, the rights of the patients, also the LDGB community started in Elkerik at that time. Also the Green Party, the Flemish Green Party, really started from people who worked there, like Mieke Vogels and Jos Gijsels. They were both also coordinators of Elkerik, and they left because Elkerik, we have our leftish ideas, but we are not associated with one party.
Maybe a bit of a difficult question for you, but of that period of time, all of the things you've engaged in, what would you call your biggest success or the biggest success story you were a part of?
For me personally, it was in 2009 when we forced the city, this Ademloos movement, a movement to pay attention to the health problem of the mobility issue in the city, and especially in Antwerp. Was a plan to build a kind of ring around the city. With
a highway with a very big bridge.
The big bridge, this is, yes, the big bridge which symbolized the bigness of, I don't know, of the makers of it. It was a very big construction plan, which was also, at that time, was already old dated, because above city you don't build a bridge, because under it you build a desert. You cannot live under. It's known for it. So I belong to a very small group of civilians who decided no, we don't want it, and we went to force the city to have a referendum. Which never happened in the city of Antwerp. And to be able to organize a referendum, we had to have 10% signs of people who live in the city. 10%, at that time, it was 45,000. But we knew it will not be enough, and we felt already the city will not let it pass like this. So we had, at the end, we had 70,000 to be sure that nobody can say, you just brought rubbish signs. So we really organized an incredible, I think it took 1 year to collect all these signs. And when we brought it to the mayor, to the city hall, they really looked at us, you are crazy. And we thought also, we are crazy, but it did. That we had enough, we had 10%. They counted till about more than 50,000. And then we had time, we didn't have long time, we had maybe 2-3 months to make our point to the city, the people who live in the city. And it was also huge for us to, but we were lucky. We had a very good leader who is a marketeer, Wim van Hees. He is a very good strategist, but also he had very good ideas. And we were all a little bit his army. And we did what he said, because he sounds always very, very logic, what he did, and also very funny. And we won. We won we won. I don't remember anymore how much, but we had really very good, I think.
A significant percentage of the
60-40?
citizens voted
Yes.
against this,
Yeah.
this bridge.
Yes,
this
it was
giant
not
bridge.
only the bridge, it was the whole,
the entire,
and the entire
trajectory,
plan. Yes. The bridge was the big symbol. Yes. And it was really, this is really, if you ask me what is, this is really the most, we were also so happy and so relieved, and we had so much against us. And then when I learned a quote of Gandhi, first they will
mock you, then
First
they will ignore you.
Ignore you, that's it. First they will ignore you, then they will laugh at you,
Yes.
then they'll fight you, and then they will take you in. And this, we really felt all these phases of activism. And we really got the politics against us, telling lies like this, the air pollution. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It was just fake thing of us, that kind of thing. So this is really the most significant action that we did. Yeah.
And the last part of the quote also happened because eventually Ademloos, the
Yes.
organization,
Yeah.
together with two other organizations,
Yes.
kind of were
We
taken
are sitting
in.
now on the table.
Oh,
We
now,
are sitting
yeah.
on the table, and this is the most important. We were not on the table. They were just, we never got plans. What are the really plans to do? It took us another 7 years to fight to the right to sit on the table.
Yes.
And now we are sitting on the table to make the plan, and it will be only in 2030.
That it will be complete?
Then
the new highway or mobility situation around Antwerp.
Yes, it will come. I'm sure nobody. What we said then was so new for many of the decision makers around the construction of mobility, and I think now they start to also to understand, to agree that you don't need more cars in the cities. It's already it was a new way of thinking. At that time in the 90s, like the cars should go as deep as possible in the city, and now it's completely different. All the big cities, like I know Bordeaux in France, they really worked a long time to a whole network of trams in the city. All the cars are staying outside, and you just all the time, every minute you have a tram. And the city, the middle of the city is booming. I don't speak about now Corona time, but before. Restaurants, everything, because the people come around, they are on foot, on the bicycle, and they enjoy, and and this is what we have to do everywhere. So the time that the car was a king is over.
And you've been, at least in this city, a part of that success story.
Yes.
Now the opposite. What is like the biggest fuck up?
Yeah.
The biggest thing you were like, that didn't go as planned.
In the beginning of Ademloos.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
It went wrong.
I mean, we organized
A protest, a march,
protest. People didn't show up.
Oh no.
We were used to it. That people will not show up. So we were only 5 or 10 or 20 or 25. And when we were 200, we were, wow, there are so many. Yes. Ooh. Yes, I can't count the times. But this is, you have to, if you believe in something, you just do it.
Maybe picking on that, looking back on all those things, the successes and the times that people didn't show up, for example, the little fuck-ups, what would, in your opinion, be one of the biggest or important lessons or important things to know when people start to become activists or start to get going in activism around a certain subject?
Yes. Wow, there are so many things. I think you really have to believe in what you go to fight against or fight for. You really have to believe in it. You really have to believe in yourself that you can do it. That you have to raise your voice. But the most important is communication with the others. And what I learn more and more is very good to split. Everybody thinks, you have to be all one together. I think more and more as I get into this business and I follow them everywhere in the world, it's always good to be in different groups, but to communicate with each other. Mm-hmm. So you don't have this very big group who is depending on one or two charismatic leaders. And you come with different approach on the same question, but different approach. And you go, okay, you are a climate activist, you all know what is your goal. Your goal is climate change to be known by the people, the government. We don't have to. But how you do it, and who will do it, and when you will do it. This is, I think, the best you can do is in different groups. Mm-hmm. But you stay in communication, but you all have your own group, which I can tell you, organization, you have this, like the old grandparents for climate.
Yes.
Let them be the grandparents together. They don't need you to tell them what to do, but stay in contact with them. Mm-hmm. Say, we want to do something together. We will be there at 9 o'clock. What do you want to do? Okay, you do we do this and this, and everybody is happy. So you have to be sure that the people who are active, that they're also happy, that they feel that they mean something. So in too big group, they lose their contact with their group. So if you go in different groups, they stay together, and because people really need the feeling of belonging to something, not only the climate change, but the group together. So like you have Extinction Rebellion. Mm-hmm. Okay, they have their way and they like it, let them do. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to put on your feathers on you or I don't know what, you make your own group. Mm-hmm. You say, we are, the black flag. So we have our own communication, but you have to, and you have to, that they communicate with each other. Mm-hmm. Like here in Antwerp, we have Ademloos, we have Straten-Generaal, and we have Ringland. Yes? Mm-hmm. 3 different organizations, 3 different mentality of organization, and 3 different approach to the same.
Yes, to the problem with the mobility around the city. Yes.
So it's also good because you are able to give different messages mm-hmm. on the same topic. So you get
to the public?
To the public and to the politic, of course. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's always public politic.
You're talking about having various groups instead of like one monolithic organization that encompasses everyone. if I'm going to give some criticism of that, a lot of people might be thinking, yeah, but if everyone is doing it the way they want,
Yes.
aren't you going to get like a bunch of headless chickens running around doing things in all directions and nothing really happening, or isn't there going to be a lack of coordination?
It depends what you want. My experience is the opposite. It's very good that people can express themselves as they want. They are not army. Maybe they feel soldiers in kind of movement, but they are not army. They don't have to be the same. And it's very good for the it's very good for the vibes of protest that you have individuals who express themselves. And it's also very good that you have different approaches. You don't have to be one ahead and 1,000 people after. You don't need it. It's not working. Mm-hmm. But when I speak all the time about non-violent action. It's very, very important. I don't speak about military actions.
Yes. I do want to pick up on that in a moment, but there's a thing you've mentioned it twice now. You're saying we shouldn't have like one face, one personality leading it and everything following behind. Is that a trap according to you? Is that a danger for groups to fall into that habit of looking to one person to lead them?
Yes, but it's also when you protest against evil regime, but you do it non-violence. I don't speak about violence actions. This is something I don't know. I don't have experience. I don't want to know it. What I do is always non-violence. So in non-violence actions, you get the regime in front of you who is looking, where are the leaders? How can we capture them? In all various ways. They can try to, they want to talk with them. They always want to talk. Come to us. And this is always regimes, they try to capture the heads of the organizations.
And co-opt them.
And try it, in various ways. But when you have different things going around, they can catch you as a movement. They try this one, so the other comes from here. They try this, so the other comes from here. So this is, in my opinion, a very good way, maybe against other thinkings, but it proves very, very effective against a regime.
That is an interesting thing you put forward. When it also is a strength, not to have that diverse element in the movement. But what within one organization? What if some of the members of an organization go rogue, to say? What if they start doing things their way, but use the name of your organization? Yes. Do you see that as a potential trap, or is that also a live and let live situation?
No. This is every group who is acting should agree first what they want to do. What is their way of expression? And I remember with Adam Laws, we had during a whole year, every Monday evening, we came together. People brought the science papers, and then we were counting, and we were telling how many this week we already have, and is everybody happy? But there were also time to reflect and people say, wow, we should stop the ring around the city to make a very big demonstration and to block the ring of the city. Okay, what do you do with it? These are other forces within your organization which want to do much more. What they want to come in on the newspaper, of the news, of TV, and say, "Wow, we did it." But is it clever to do it for the long run? Because you want the civil society with you, so you all the time have to think, is it good for us? And then to decide together. I hear now people come to me. They don't even know I support Extinction Rebellion. They don't know I have contact with them. And they come to me and they say, just last night I had people visited me and Extinction Rebellion, this I find too much. So I ask, what is too much? They have this color. Yes, and I say, at the end, about whom we are talking now? Extinction Rebellion. So they got what they wanted. We are talking about them now. And they don't care if you like them or not. You are talking about Extinction Rebellion. And so this is an organization that has to decide what they want. Do they want to be nice? Or do they want their cause to be known? And you have to have enough charismatic leaders who you have the mission and the vision of the organization, and that they try to put everybody in the nose to the same direction.
You do need a little bit of charismatic leadership.
You do need always.
Let's look at another thing a lot of organizations struggle with. We touched upon it in the video, and we have experienced it a little bit ourselves with the climate movement. What happens when those people indeed don't show up for the marches, when you get lesser numbers, or when an election result doesn't go your way, or how do you deal with a sense of failure in a movement?
Yeah. The sense that you have to go on. You have to go on. And, because also how you go with success it's the same. In the beginning, you started with something you didn't know where you go with. You didn't know which success you will have with once 30 or 40,000 demonstrators in Brussels. Huge. And then a few weeks later, nothing. But you stay always the same. So also when you have success, it's not like, whoa, yes, you do it one time, 1, 3, and then you calm down and you wake up the morning after and you still have to do a lot. So this is the bad and the good thing. You still have to do a lot. So it gives you the power to go on. And also to reflect always. Why these elections happened? How can we anticipate it for the next time? What did we do wrong? What did we do good? And how can we anticipate for the next time?
I hear the reflection thing coming back. Is that something you think is very important?
Reflection is very important. It's important as an individual, always, every day, to have a reflection. I had a talk with somebody, so I reflect afterwards. Did I do it good? Did I do it right? Was I respectful enough? Did I have time for the person? Was I annoyed? Why was I annoyed? Where is my ego? And this is also very important by being activist. Where is my ego? For whom do I do it? For my name, for my ego, for me being a part of something? What is it? So it's very important.
We've been talking a lot about activism today.
Yes.
But you, of course, work at El Kirik, or now the Peperfabriek,
Yes.
the pepper factory. That is an organization that goes back to a long time.
70s, the beginning of the 70s.
At the 70s? Since the 70s, do you, in your opinion, has activism changed in methods or in its attitude or in the subjects it handles since the 70s up until now? Have you seen, how has that evolution been? Because I assume it has changed somewhat.
Yes. Of course, it changed because we have now a different community systems. For example, at that time, you had to go to hang a fish on the trees at night, and they were in groups, and they were really, wow, we are doing something now is not legal, but everybody should know when our action is and where is the demonstration. So the communication between the activists, you cannot compare it.
Do you think that has taken also a bit out of it? Because you talk about it like, oh, we're going to do this together, it's secret, it really isn't allowed.
No.
But it does give a little bit more of a courageous vibe than posting a Facebook event.
I prefer being activist now, for sure, for sure. Because I'm now activist here, but I follow activists all over the world, and they give me a lot of wiseness and a lot of information. And I really follow them, and I make my conclusion how, why this is going better and going less, and I learn a lot of it. What I couldn't do in the 70s or 80s, or the 90s, even in 2000. I remember when we did the referendum in Antwerp, Facebook was not there yet. We had a fish. We had also that this was my last meeting with a fish hanging outside. It was in 2009. And afterwards, I remember a few months after we were talking, oh yeah, there is Facebook, we can do it with Facebook. It was 2009. Yes.
Amazing. Aside from communication, are there other things that have changed significantly?
Also, now I speak as a woman. Everything was much more in the hand of men. We are now at the moment where we really take the hands of the men. Don't put your hands, leave, go. So
Rightfully so.
It was much more macho. They didn't, even now they are not really aware. Oh, I hope people in Antwerp will not see this.
Any names you want to give to the camera?
Yeah. So it was much more a men thing. Mm-hmm. Of course, it was men thing. Also, much more, when I look at it, I was young, so I didn't have really access to the top. I was 20, 22, I studied. So, and I just came in Belgium, so I didn't know, but I saw and I spoke with people, and I also made a film documentary about these people in the 60s and the 70s. And it was also the parties and the unions were more connected at that time. Everybody was belonging to a party.
Yeah, there were these pillars in society. Yeah, you had the socialists.
Yes.
You had the Christian Democrats.
Yes.
You had the liberals.
Yes, and the Green didn't exist yet. They didn't start it. Yeah, so you had these families, these three families, and of course, yeah, we all were to the socialists. And I think now having is much more having fun, really a demonstration and being activist is much more fun than at that time.
In what ways?
So you can much better communicate with each other, which is for me the most important is the communication with each other. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you've touched a few times on communication now, both internal to make sure everyone is on the same page and has the same idea, and external towards other organizations.
Yes.
Is that something you would really advise new people to try out to get comfortable with?
It's number one, communication. It's number one of everything you do. And especially if you want to have a voice and to influence a bunch of people, you have to communicate within your group and you have to communicate out of your group. And you have to let voices inside to see what is going on and to anticipate. And you have to raise your voice back to the rest. And you only do it with communication.
Looking at all those various groups that you have seen,
Yes.
maybe been a part of, and that moved through, like Elkerik, is there something that sticks out? Is there something like a commonality between the ones that are successful and the ones that are not so successful? The ones that stay alive, that get to their goals? Is there something you notice about those groups?
Yes, I think the young people are very, 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 very important for an organization. Without young people, you just, as organization, you lose and you lose your contact, and you just disappeared. And this is why I have contact with you too, young. Because I find it very important. Because what you do it for the next generation, and you want them to be involved. They are not babies. It's their future, and you want to hear what they want and how they want to do it. And so if you take an organization without young people, it's going to disappear.
What do you mean with they're not babies?
So when you take 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, I don't want to be their grandmother. I just come to them and I say, what do you think you need for your own future? I can think what you want. I can think how to get it, but tell me how you want to do it, and I can do it together with you with my experience and with the means I have now. Like I'm not owning, but the organization I work for is owning a big house where you can do a lot of things. I say, please come in. This is the house. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. I give my advice, and we do it together. But I don't do it. I would never think to do it further alone without this young generation who is coming, because
it has to come from them. They have to be the ones.
They have to give their energy.
Let's get a little bit towards on the subject of Elkerik itself, because you're coordinator there. What does that entail? What is Elkerik actually? Or the Peperfabriek? I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to the new name.
The Peperfabriek, yeah. We really want to be in kind of incubator for all kind of movements going under the surface of the society. Like what for me very, very important is we can't deny how the society is changing. Yes, which is changing because of the diversity in the society. There are so many people from all over the world coming and going, coming and going. It was always like this. There were periods where there was less movement of people. But all of course, you take 60,000 years ago. We came from Africa. We came here. Okay, it took us 60,000 years to be here and to have our color, but it's nothing. It's all the time changing. And what I find very important is to take care of the society, to see that all the forces are in the society, that they get voice, and they communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I want in the Peperfabriek. The younger generation who has a lot to tell, all kind of things to tell. I want to give them a voice. I want to give them a place. I want to give them a roof, so they can come and be themselves. They can come and think about what they want, which society they want. Of course, everything in the mind of humanity. Yes, mm-hmm. I don't exclude anybody. I do exclude the ones who exclude the others.
Mm-hmm.
So to say it very good, fascist or racist, I don't want them. They can be somewhere else. But people who are also, because they are migrants or children of migrants, they don't have a voice yet. So I want to give them the mic and the camera or the lights, and please do.
You talked about having various organizations within a movement that work towards the same goal, but as, for example, coordinator of Elkerik, how do you actually get them to act together? How do you get them to do that?
I can give you 3 examples. Yes. Like the African Youth Organization, the youth coming, all migrants from Africa, and they are looking for, they don't know themselves what they are looking for. So I get the notion that they are there, they're around. So I send them SMS. You know, I'm Yael, and we have this house, a Peperfabriek. If you need a place to come together, just let me know. And they don't really answer. And who are you? Oh yeah, I got your name from Omar and this and that. So at the end, I get contact with them, and they come to look and they say, wow, you have this building. Can we do this? Can we do that? Yeah, of course. And then I get some organization, Climaxi.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine. Tom told me I can come to look because we were looking for a place to cook, because we are getting vegetables from gardens, and we want to cook for people who don't have money. And I said, okay, we have a new kitchen. And I say, you know what? I have also a project. We start 1st of January for a whole year to cook against poverty.
Mm-hmm.
So before I knew we were going to do it together, they cooked yesterday, 2 days ago. They came already, 2 weeks after Catherine called me. I just gave them the key, and and they cooked. And when they finished, they brought me the key, and everything is okay. And I know we can start something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very honest to them, I say, this and this and this, you can do that and that, and that is not possible.
Mm-hmm.
This door is closed. You just don't go in. I speak also, I give very they know what they can do and not what they cannot. So it's very
There are house rules. It isn't
very
anarchy.
clear. Yeah, it's not. It is not. But we like them to come. Yeah. So I told you Klimaxi. I told you the youth, and
What's the third one?
and the third one I forget because there are so many around me. I will. Yes. The African youth, they came and they said, yeah, but we want to do something around Black History Month. So then come another group. They do Black History Month. So I walk with them I said, okay, I really like to host you, but I also like to to do something around it. That is cooperation. So it's growing, with the corona now, we never know, but and the same with you, like you come and you have these ideas about a sequence about the media, the Flemish media landscape. All right, let's do it.
Yes. One of the organizations that also we have met a few times in Elkrik, an organization which you are a part of, is Another Jewish Voice.
Yes.
Can you tell a little bit about what is that organization?
Yeah. This organization is of left-leaning Jewish, Jewish who live here in the Flemish country. Some of them were born here, some of them came to live here, like me, and from all over the world. We are really very diverse. Within the Jewish world, culture, we are very diverse because we have also a couple which became Jewish, a German lesbian couple who became Jewish, very special ingredient. So they are religious on their way. Other are also religions, but within the Jewish world, you have also different approach to the religion. So you have them, and you have the real secular like me. But what brings us together is the fact we were born Jewish. You can't ignore it. Although we don't have black skin, I tell my black friends, I say, at you they always can see you are, at me not. So sometimes I have to tell I'm a Jew, because you never know where the bad jokes will arrive about you.
So really?
I really have this notion, I have to, how you say, waarschuwen? To warn the people, I am a Jew, because otherwise you will get the blame. Why didn't you say it before? Yes.
That's actually something.
This is the way it goes, yeah. So, Another Jewish Voice, what for us was very important, especially a few years ago when there was one voice, one Jewish voice of a very loud voice man who was pretending to be the only voice of the Jews of Antwerp and Flemish Jews. And also he was pretending he is the voice of the Israelis. In Israel this, in Israel that, which is completely wrong. Okay, he has this voice, Netanyahu voice, but he was talking like, Netanyahu was in his stomach, while Netanyahu talking from his stomach.
Okay.
While Netanyahu, you can say he has 25% of voters in Israel. It's like
certainly not the voice of everybody.
No,
of course.
no. Yeah. So you can say, okay, NVA has also. So is it Flemish? Are the Flemish NVA? No, they have more than 25, there are 30 last elections, but they don't have everybody. So it was for us very important to show and to give a contra to people who thinks they are the Jewish community, which
Okay.
they are not.
So it was kind of a bit of an I don't want to misuse the word, but a little bit of an emancipation project, or at least to maybe not an emancipation project, but a project to show other people that there is more diversity in the Jewish community.
Yes, also, but also for us, like we needed it as a bunch of intellectuals who want to meet each other, to communicate with each other, to ask questions to each other, because we also work now less, but before there was book club we had, so inside working, not outside, and talking about all different movements of the Judaism and our relationship with Israel. Yes, very, 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 very difficult always. Yes, so we did it in a very secure way with each other, just talking, and in different. And we have really our. If we want to put an article on our website, we really have to decide, and we have green light, orange light, red light. If somebody put red light, so it will not be published. And so we want to be on the same direction all the time. Yes.
Okay. So because there is another ethnic community in El Creek, the Syrian community.
Yes.
But there you also have a bunch of movements that are very much focused on material subjects or subjects in politics more. Do you notice, is there a difference between how those organizations act, how Another Jewish Voice works, and how, for example, Extinction Rebellion works?
Yes.
Do you notice a difference between?
Yes, every organization, every movement has its own culture, inside culture, and it starts from the beginning of the movement, and mostly it stays. Sometimes this is the problem. The beginning is very important always of an organization. And the Syrian community, you can't compare with our other Jewish Voice. Completely not.
Okay.
Yes, they are much more active than we.
With Another Jewish Voice, it does I do want to loop that around back to Israel.
Okay.
Because at the moment, a lot is happening in Israel.
Yes.
There are big protests.
Yes.
They've been going on for a while.
Yes.
Big protests against Netanyahu's government.
Yes.
How do you look at that situation?
I'm really fascinated to follow, and I really follow the leadership of, through Facebook and so. I follow
the leadership of those groups that are protesting.
Protesting against Netanyahu regime, and especially against Netanyahu himself.
It is focused against his person.
It's focused against him. And this is really special what they do. They say, first we want him off. Because, in Israel you have a lot of problems in the society. The biggest problem is, of course, the Palestinian issue. And the movement now is sometimes getting the blame of you don't speak about the Palestinians. You're only focusing on Netanyahu. But they really, they have decision together. Various of organizations, yes? They really go in circles between in each other and together. And they say, first, we have Netanyahu. he has to fall down.
Yes.
Because some of them are really radical. I really enjoyed to see their radical thinking of changing the society completely, because the real capitalist, the neoliberal turbo economy, how you want to call it, is really hitting harder in Israel than in Europe. All the bad and the good things come first from the United States. They make a little vow to Israel, and then they come to Europe. Mm-hmm. So what I'm focusing there, I'm following them, I'm sure it's coming here, because this kind of leaders, as Netanyahu, Orban, is like this in Europe, maybe in Poland will come. So you have them in East Europe, of course. There. Anyway, he's using anything and everybody to hold on his power. But he is losing now. After there are now the 26 weeks that every Saturday, thousands and thousands of people are marching to Jerusalem, where he's living and is holding the government. And not only this, in every small city during the week and on the bridges, on the highways, they stand with flags and they demonstrate. What he is doing is really doing what is happening in the Weimar Republic in the beginning of the 30s in Germany. He's destabilizing all the time. Destabilize the country to take more hold of everything. Hold on the police, on the judicial system, in the media. He has his own journalists who are just talking his voice. Mm-hmm. So he's going to lose this next election. Will be in the middle of March. It's the end of Netanyahu. He will not come anymore on power. This I dare to say.
Do you, because you already kind of hinted at it, do you put him in like the series of like dictators that we also see in Hungary and Poland and maybe Brazil as well with
Bolsonaro? He tries, but he will just not get there. He will just not get there. And it's all through these activists, non-violent activists. And they are sitting like this in the demonstrations. They sit on their knees. They get this water cannon on them. Non-violent action, but they are real activists. They can really learn the whole world now what is very, very efficient activism.
Yeah, I have seen some pictures that you send us of the protest. When I see it, it reminds me a little bit of the American reaction to Black Lives Matter, and also what we often see more in France and Germany. In Belgium, we have a very soft police force.
Yes.
So far, we have had a rather soft police force compared to those countries. It looked really quite violent towards the protesters.
Yes, and this is the problem. What is Netanyahu is doing? He had to put the head of the police. Yes. Mm-hmm. What he does, he doesn't appoint the head of the police. He just said, "You just show me first that you take care of these demonstrations before I decide who is good to be." You see.
He made it a bit of a challenge.
And not a little bit. It's a very big challenge. But the demonstrations are so good organized. So they have, for the beginning, they have mamas, women of my age. They have this yellow vest, and they take care of the demonstrations. They are together. They see if somebody crashed, they go to talk with him. They have clowns. They have demonstration clowns. When they see the police and the demonstrators are clashing, they come together.
To diffuse the tension.
To diffuse the change. They have lawyers who are standing in the police departments where they bring, because they see the demonstrations, they see the bus is arriving. It means they are going to to arrest them.
Arrest people, yeah.
So they have volunteers, lawyers waiting already to them in the police stations when they arrive to be their voice. They don't have only lawyers there, they have people with coffee and tea and sandwiches, yes? So they take care of everybody. And when you are arrested, you know, and they have this very famous woman, Orly, she wears red boots, and she's with her iPhone, she's filming the whole demonstration. Where she sees something is going on, she is going to, everything is filmed. This is very good because the demonstrators have a lot of, against the police, they can show.
Yeah,
the police,
to keep them accountable, yeah.
Yeah, so they are very well organized.
Yeah, it sounds extremely well
organized. And they wait till the end of the night, waiting for the people to come out of the police stations who were sent back home. The police is really taking young people, men, only men, they do it. They take them in the car, they drive out of the city, and they threw them out of the car. It's not allowed. It's like kidnapping, Kidnapping, what the police is doing. It's like in Argentina in the 70s.
Yeah, it also sounds a little bit like something that happened with the Black Lives Matter movement in Portland, I believe.
Yeah.
Who are these protest groups? Who are these very well organized protest groups that are doing this?
So
are they anti-capitalists? How do I have to? Which groups are they?
Yes, you have a very anti-capitalist group, very active, and they really want because the whole political system in Israel is now in so bad shape that they are, and I really follow them, and not now, but they really want to change the system within a few years to have really serious, very strong leftish with Arabs, political organizations of Jews and Arabs together against this kind of establishment. Establishment is more and more in Israel really powerful people with a lot of money who are beginning to own everything. Also the media, the news media, very important.
And you have a book in mind, you don't have it with you, but which one would you like to recommend?
I would like to recommend also myself, I didn't read it yet, it's on my list, but it's the book, The Force of Nonviolence, from Judith Butler. I have a lot of respect to this thinker, philosopher from Berkeley University. She's in the 90s. She was really the first to talk about on the philosophical way about gender questions and queer in specific. And now she came out with a book, The Force of Nonviolence, which is very, very interesting for everybody who who is part of organizations and who is a social activist.
Okay, sounds very interesting. And last of all, where can people find you and and the Peperfabriek.
So we are situated in the center of Antwerp, Peperfabriek.be. We have a lot of nowadays online activities, and hopefully within a few months we can open our doors and organize all kinds of things together in our building.
That's Peperfabriek. We'll put the links in the description. Another organizations you want to promote? Anything else you have going, or?
I really want the Black History Month will go on in March. I don't know in how we will do it, but we will, of course, it's very important for me, the Black History Month. Nobody tells the history of the blacks, and I would like to take part of this organization more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.